So I am talking to Consie Sindet. Is
Correct.
that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
I saw her work on YouTube, and I asked her a little bit about her background, and her background is graphic design. So I sent her my blog on junk journaling, which I think she does art journaling and junk journaling and using scraps and using, but what impressed me, what got me going was the cardboard journals that she made, which I hope everybody has a chance to see because uh, it was wonderful. And then I think you also made the comment that that cardboard takes a lot of beating.
Oh
Is
yeah,
that correct?
correct. It does. It's the cardboard came from a couple different sources. One, boxes, like a lot of it was corrugated from boxes, but some of it also came from like when you get paper. Like I mean, I was a bookkeeper for a while, so we used to get tax forms, and I had that cardboard that would hold the paper into the packaging. So it's like a thin cardboard. So a lot of the books are made from that too. But yeah, it'll take anything, pretty much anything.
Well, I've been taking cardboard from work in the from the garbage
Yeah.
and taking it and cutting it up ever since I saw that. I watched that video twice. And then the other thing I liked a lot was the zines. The zine and the book, the kind of the bend flip kind of journal, little ones that you made.
Little ones, yes. I was gonna say
Uh,
I've made so many journals at this point.
yeah, but these are like, uh, uh, what should I say about them? They're just like anybody could, it's easy to make and create and have little journals. And if you can get cardboard at work or wherever, or you get packing, your cardboard boxes and cut them up and find yourself. I just felt they were really useful tools to
Yeah,
have in your toolbox.
yeah.
And so I really like those two very, very much. And of course, I like your live where you work on where you work on your art journal, and that's fun. But I always like to see everything. So the car I'm gonna stop calling it junk journal because I just read my blog on junk journaling, which anyway, the thing is that I liked it very much because at the end of that one, you do a flip through of a journal, a cardboard journal that you had made that so I watched it twice, so I'm full of it with that whole thing, but that one particularly. And then I like a zine because I've tried to make zines and the papers are always crooked.
Hmm.
And I don't know, what I like the fact that you use a bone folder. And then
Absolutely.
one is hot dog and one is hamburger.
Yeah.
And one is hamburger and one is hot and then hot dog. But anyway, so tell me about Barbados. You said you were born in Barbados or how?
Yeah. Yeah. I was born there. My dad's from Barbados and my mom is from the US in New Jersey. So, hence the reason I moved from Barbados to New Jersey eventually at 10. But yeah, I mean, I was there until I was 10. It's a tiny island. And, it was, when we were there, we were in a kind of really strict religion. So when we left the religion behind. So it was an interesting time moving to the US and having a lot more freedom. So
What kind of religion was it? Or is it something particular to Barbados or
no,
is just a general?
it's international. I don't know that I mean, we called it the Close Brethren. I don't know. I'm the Plymouth Brethren. A
Okay.
couple people called it. So, um, I tend to like forget about it as much as I can. Like,
Oh, okay.
no, I mean, I don't mind talking about it. I'm just like, I don't like know a lot of the particulars because I was leaving when I was 10, um, I obviously at that age, there's still a lot of impressions about what happened in it. And it has definitely shaped my spiritual life and the way that I think about spirituality and religion. Um, but I don't know enough about it to say it was this specific, or I don't know that it would be something that people know. It was kind of a small religion, I guess, or a small section, but it was international. I mean, it was all over the world because, obviously my mother in New Jersey met my father in Barbados. And, I have aunts and uncles that are all over the West Indies and in Venezuela and, all over the world. So it was everywhere. It's just I only knew about it from being in my little space in Barbados.
That's okay. And the other thing, tell me about your art background or the graphic design that you did and how it influences what you're doing now.
Okay. So yeah, I went to college for graphic design because I think that's how we all think that that one has a job behind it. Like if I go to school and I'm painting on canvas, it's hard to get a job. But if you're a graphic designer, it has a better job. So when I came out of college, I got a job at a local newspaper. And this was a long time ago. I didn't even learn computer graphics in college. I was a hand graphic designer. I could hand do all the paper and the magazine and newspaper pages. So I learned graphic design. I mean, computer graphic design on the job. But I didn't like. It felt very confining to me. It just wasn't. I didn't feel free when I did it. So I ended up leaving that and doing a million other things. But in between, that's when I started doing painting and teaching and doing, ceramics and all these different creative things just to find my way in. But where it would influence me now, I would say that I forget how much I'm still using just by going into Canva and making my graphics. And like before we had social media and all that, I had to make flyers and I had to send out postcards, to my mailing list before we had email lists. So I would say my graphic design helps me with my marketing now more than it does my actual artwork, but it does help a lot to have that background.
So, okay, and I think that was just the background question I wanted to ask you, but what do you think about what you do? Like, when you say you use Canva,
Mhm.
uh, how do you use Canva?
I use Canva one to make a lot of my Instagram carousel posts. So the graphics that hold the photos and the words. I use Canva for all my YouTube thumbnails. I use Canva to make printables and PDFs. I use Canva to design, you know, PDFs that people have to print or, anything that needs a graphic design element to it is what Canva is for me, for sure.
I would never have imagined that you use Canva. I use high zines from Canva to make zines,
Mhm.
and I have never thought of using Canva for graphic design, but I can see where that would be. I think this is helpful knowledge to people, background knowledge, which they might not know. Because when you look at your work, like I was looking at something last night, it was an art journaling page. It was you had used a punch
Mhm.
and some washi tape.
Mhm.
And then you had designed sort of like this eye-shaped design.
Okay.
and there were three of them, and then you laid it out, and then underneath it you put washi tape at the end.
Yeah.
But what I like, I was I liked the color tag that that you used in this particular part of it, and then I could be confusing a couple of them because I've watched so many of your videos, but this had the color tag on it, and then there was another one where you use the eye shape and the washi and the flowers on the bottom and the washi again. And it just seems to me that it was very unconventional and very not art school graphic design kind of thing. It was it was interesting. I mean, I watched it again. I usually watch your things twice. I watch, so that's why I'm confused about which one I watched. But then it had a pocket, a side pocket. The two that I'm talking about, one then had kind of a shape that went through the middle of the page. And then there were splotches on it and little white dots, and then you with your brush, and I was like, how does this? What do you think about when you do that? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Or okay, are you when you do an art journal page, like I'm traditional enough that I went to art school, so I'm traditional enough that when I do an art journal, I am really planning something. Like I've been doing these pieces called staycation. And so one junk journal is about Milan. It's my friend Matteo and Milan. He also has a YouTube channel, but about Matteo and me and Milan and and the prints that he sent me and things like that, or designs that he sent me. But when you do that, what is it that you what is it that it sounds like it's an end in itself.
So when I art journal or junk journal or whatever, any art at all, I usually don't, I just want to do it. I don't really have a plan. Um, the first, the way I teach or the way I speak about my work is that the only decision I necessarily make for real, like a concrete decision, is the first one because I have to start. So I have to start with something, a piece of collage or some watercolor or some stamping or whatever I want to start. But after that, it becomes a reaction. So whatever happened on the page first then tells me, what to do next. And it's very intuitive. It's not very planned. I mean, every once in a while, I might have like a piece of collage sitting on my table that I want to use or I want to add in because it's annoying me because it's sitting on my table. So I want to add it to a page. But it's really just a reaction. It's, this white dots look fun. So why do I like the white dots? Well, because they're dots. So could I add more dots? Am I interested in dots? It's almost like I'm constantly asking myself questions. But without realizing it, it is very intuitive is how I would say. Like, it's what is it that draws me on my page? Is it annoying me? If it's annoying me, how do I fix it? If it's I love something, do I want to add more? Why is this working? Do I feel restful when I look at it? Because that's how I know when something is done. It just starts to feel very peaceful. Like my eyes travel across it really gently, and I don't get stuck on sections of it. It just feels cohesive. And so I actually use the term, like, it stops talking to me. Like, it doesn't, nothing is going beep 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 me, look at me, look at me, look at me. It just stops talking. It's just peaceful. And so I just keep adding stuff and playing and going through the curiosity of what if they add this and what if this happens. And I look around my table and, oh, I haven't used those pencils in a while, and I'll just grab it and try it. It's really just curiosity and play, and let it keep going until it stops talking. Like that's all it, planning, if I plan something, I tend to get lost and in the it needs to be something. So I try desperately not to plan things too often. I might have a general idea. So, like, I might have an idea that I want to make this journal out of this. And so that's a plan. I mean, you can't say that's not a plan to say, I'm going to make this journal out of this paper bag and I want the pages to be kind of off center. But that's about as big a plan as I have. From there, it's just how does it fold? How many pages do I need? How often, how do I have to lay out the pages? Does this work? No. Okay, let's try it a different way. So a lot of curiosity, a lot of trial and error, and one giant experiment, and just have fun.
And how do you think this relates to other people? Or since you have a YouTube channel, uh, is that a teaching channel where you're trying to teach a kind of meditative? Um,
Not, I mean, my YouTube is I teach. I mean, when I make a YouTube video, I do it with the intention of teaching what I'm doing. It's kind of like you get an insight, especially if I'm talking out loud. I don't always talk all of my videos out loud. That's why the lives help a lot because you can hear my thought process. I'm talking out what's happening in my head during my lives. Um, so my YouTube videos to me are me showing you, and hopefully you get inspiration and learn something from what I'm doing. So that's my version of teaching. But I also, have classes and a membership where I teach specifics. But my entire philosophy is not really about specifics, it's about the process. My goal is always to get you just to play and not worry about what it looks like in the end. We might play with dyeing paper, so that's very specific, like, try this on the paper, try it this way, and there's a bit of a method, I guess, that I would have that I'm sharing. But I also want you to take what I share and show and work it into what you already know and try things. You can try it my way, but also try it your way and try it from all the different people you've watched. If you watch YouTube videos, I'm not the only person you watch. You watch many other artists. So I want you to think of it as like information gathering. I love how this person uses pink. I love how this person incorporates stamps. I love how this person is a collage artist. And then take all that information and put it on something and see if it works for you. And you might find out that stamps are not your thing. I hate the color pink. I prefer yellow. And so that's just you going down the curiosity rabbit hole of trying lots of different things. I just want to share what I know and see what people gather from it, but I'm never expecting someone to copy me. I mean, they can copy me. That's not what I'm meaning by that, but I'm not like, this is my method and this is how you get to the end result. Like, I don't have that. I do it this way. And if you gather something from that, then go forward and try it and see what happens from you. And if you gather something that works for you, awesome. If you don't, awesome too. It doesn't matter. I'm just a conduit into your creative practice.
so your membership is on YouTube and your classes are on YouTube.
No, no. YouTube is just my free way of sharing. The tutorials, everything on YouTube is free. My membership is through my website. It's called the Creative Playground. So it's a monthly subscription that is housed in Teachery. It's an online teaching platform called Teachery. And then my classes are held there as well. So anything that's a paid, where you pay to get a class or pay to join my membership, goes through my website. So that one's all on my website. Yeah. And YouTube is just my free for you to see if you like me. I mean, it's better to learn and see how you like how I teach and how I speak and how I share. And so that's what, for me, YouTube is that platform.
So you're a working professional artist.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Yes. I do this full
And
time.
you do it full time and you make a living at it.
I'm working on making a living. I'm lucky that I have a husband who also has full-time job. So together we make a living. Yes.
So how long have you been doing this? Everything.
Okay, well, the iteration that I'm currently in, I've been doing full time for about a year, almost a year and a half, but I have gone in and out of full time creative businesses since I was 30, so like 25 years. So I've had some times where it was full time, where I was painting murals and teaching before the internet. I mean, not before the internet, but before like online classes really were a thing. I taught like 4 or 5 in-person classes a week. I had a home studio. I taught at the Michael's Craft Store. I taught at the local college, the local community college, the adult classes. I taught a lot of what we called home parties, so like Tupperware for art. And so I would take all the products, but I did craft shows and murals and painting, and I did all of it. And for a long time. I was probably 10 or 12 years that I did that, almost full time. Um, but then, 2008 and the housing crash happened, and not everybody had disposable income. So then I went and started doing creativity part time. And that's when I did a lot of face painting because I needed to still be creative, but teaching and doing classes and murals and the craft shows were just not working anymore. So I transitioned to being a face painter at fairs and for birthday parties. And I did that for 10 years. So I've always had creativity. It's just that sometimes it's been full time and sometimes it's been part time. And I've always been working my way back to being a full time artist. And so, April of last year, 2024, I quit my bookkeeping job and started doing this full time. So,
So how do you reach people? I'm just hoping that this will be very helpful to people
sure.
because I find your YouTube channel helpful. I
Okay.
mean, I find, like I told you, what I like. I like to watch you. I like to watch I like to watch the freedom of your page. Um I find that kind of exciting. I also I'm trying to study outsider art, which is which used by definition used to be art that people with disabilities of some kind did. The most famous would be My Left Foot, where the movie where the guy paints with his left foot, and I think outsider art came to be thought of as people with mental illness that did this. And I in no way mean to insult anybody. That's not what I'm saying and not what I mean. But how it's interpreted today, my son actually told me about it. He saw what I did and how I interviewed people or artists that I saw on YouTube. And he said, it's outsider art, and I said, it's not outsider art. And he said, oh, yes, it is. It's a new definition of outsider art. And that has an energy, a rawness, and that's very exciting. It steps out of the world of art school,
Mm.
and I study it because of that. I study how the artists do that. I'm hoping to write something a little longer on it. I've started teaching classes in sustainability and junk journaling and art journaling, meaning that people can use things that are sustainable, and probably I will show your video with a cardboard or something if I teach that again. So I'm hoping to teach that again. It's
Good.
a very specific thing. It's art journaling and junk journaling through, and then I study the energy of outsider art because it's not in the museum, it's not done to be in the museum. But it's artists like yourself who are willing to make the sacrifice of painting like for 10 years, painting faces to just have a job to make to be creative. So
Yeah.
it's very exciting. And it's very exciting that so many people are interested in doing it,
Mhm.
and becoming engaged with it, and that they teachery I've never even heard of. But in any case, you teach through that. And anyway, that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I've never, I'm sure I've heard the term, but I would not have associated myself with outsider art. I'm just someone who puts art supplies in a journal. Like I don't really think of it. I do call myself an artist. I think anyone that picks up an art supply and puts it down on a surface is an artist. I don't really see why you have to sell it or put it on a canvas for anything to be an artist. But I just want people to be creative because it calms your mind and it calms your body and your soul and everything. And it just, if you can allow yourself to just be in a state of play and curiosity, honestly, that's where the magic shows up on your page. Like I cannot come to an art journal page really angry or very super stressed. It doesn't work for me. I just go blank. Like there's nothing. I literally would just, I don't even know what I would put down. But if I come with just like, let's just play and see what happens. And eventually, like maybe something that's bothering me or that's popping around in my subconscious will pop in. And the words that I add to the page at the end, or an image that I found in collage, or, it'll just show up. And so sometimes it can mean something, but most of the time it's just because I got to put
Play.
stuff down. Yeah, I just want to play. I just want to play with color and texture and I also really love sharing. Like I do not create every day. I'm not that artist or that art journaler that's like first thing in the morning, I'm grabbing my art journal and I'm whipping up something just because. I thrive on making art and doing art journaling and recording my art journals and my junk journals and how I do things to share. Like I thrive on that. I thrive on the sharing aspect because sometimes I wonder if I didn't share it, would I do it? Like that's a question I ask myself a lot. I have a feeling I would find a different way, just like how when I first did the teaching classes and the murals and all that, I also physically burnt out. Like I couldn't work anymore. And I've actually told the story where I almost said, I did say to myself, I'm going to stop being creative. I'm just going to go find a job, just any job. I'll just find a job that's not creative. And I became a face painter because for some reason I didn't think face painting was creative. And all I did was still like creativity wouldn't leave me. That's what I always tell, like creativity is in all of us. It's just finding its path out, like how will it come out of you. And so for me it came out for a while in the murals and the product that I was painting, and then that went away. And so when I was like, I'm not going to be creative, creativity said, well, no, you're still going to be creative. I will just give you a different path. And that was face painting on children. I mean, I never would have thought of that. When I grew up, face painting was like, drawing a balloon on some child's cheek. And the face painting world I walked into was full faces, I mean, I've painted full bodies, so it was, my art just came out on a different canvas, but I still was creative until that ran its course. And then I found art journaling. And then I was like, could channel my art back into a different canvas, which was paper and journals.
How
So
did you find art journaling?
I found it by I was looking for a way to make my planner and to-do list pretty enough that I would actually look at it. I know, don't we all want to do that? And someone introduced me to the Documented Life Project, which I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but they were, I mean, they still are 5 women. They're not all together anymore, but Rayma Sigmund and Robin Marie Smith, if you've never, those are 2 that I know are still really predominant. But there were 5 women who were turning their planners into art journals. So it was like a planner and an art journal all together. And they um, taught this year-long class called the Documented Life Project. And so that's how I was introduced to art journaling through the lens of the planner world. So, but not all of them liked using their planner. A lot of them just used it as an art journal. So that's how I learned about art journaling, was through the Documented Life Project. I think if you still Google it, you can find classes and
I've
information on
run
it.
across it. I just
Yeah.
didn't know what it was because
Yeah.
I don't deal with planners.
Yeah. I mean, I
If
did.
I had to deal with planners,
Yeah.
I would never do anything.
No,
I mean,
no.
it's totally antithetical to what it means to have a planner.
Right. Exactly.
I
So,
would never,
yeah.
never, I couldn't plan things if I tried,
Yeah.
I just, it
By
wouldn't,
the end of, by the end of that year, I stopped the calendar part because my calendar needs to just be a calendar. Like, it just needs to be messy notes and dates. So by the end of that year, mine was just an art journal. Like I was just doing it as art journaling and, just putting down whatever. And that's how I learned about so many products and so many techniques. And then, once you open that door, then all the other people start to come in and you start to go down YouTube and, you learn other things, and Instagram started pulling our interest. And so, yeah, I started with the Documented Life Project, which, has brought me to today, and it hasn't let up because there's so many avenues. There's so many avenues within the art and junk journaling world. I have made junk journals that have become art journals, because the definition for art and junk journal is so nebulous. It's so subjective to who's talking.
but would you say, okay, two things come to mind.
Sure.
One, would you say that art journaling has become a form in itself in a way, and that a lot of YouTubers are involved with the art journaling and junk journaling, and then has it become an art book? There was book arts, you know what
Right.
I mean? But now it seems like art journaling and junk journaling has taken over the book arts world, where book arts are taught in school, and all this, and I've never learned anything. I mean, it sounds like fun, but I've never been like real inspired by it or anything, and yet I find myself making books. And
Yeah.
I think, interesting. So what do you think about these two avenues, that junk journaling and art journaling have become an end in itself,
Mhm.
and how do they intersect with the book arts world?
Um, well, when I think of, like traditional bookbinding, it seems very structured. And so, like I have a friend who has a master's in bookbinding, and what she went through to get there is very structured. And, like, is that what you mean by the book art world? Like a book
Yeah,
binding?
like book arts,
Yeah.
like people who
Yeah.
study book
Yeah.
arts,
Yeah. I mean, I think they're all valid and all their own thing. Like, if you're a very structured person, you might be more drawn to traditional bookbinding and all that because of the structure of it. If you like, woo, I just like to be free, then you're going to love the junk journals that people just, throw paper together and stick a staple through. And they're like, there it is, it's a book. To a traditional bookbinder, that's bananas. But I don't see I think they all play well together. I think, if you're drawn to doing traditional, I'm saying traditional, but there's all kinds, like more structured bookbinding, you might bind a book, but then you might do art journaling in it, or you might add junk to it. So I don't see that there's one versus another. I think they're all intertwined. And I think it's just what draws your interest, you know. But yeah, I
But it
mean, art.
seems to have become a very important art form in itself.
Oh
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
It's not like it's not like it used to be. Kind of put separate. You made paper, you made a book, you
Right.
bound the book,
Yeah, it's all
you had like real paper. You learned how to use a screen and use a blender or however you do it or cut up people. I'm not saying that bookmakers or junk journalers and art journalers don't do that. I've known a lot who I've seen a lot who will take this and make a screen and put and just take their whatever. I don't know what I can't remember. I haven't studied it really, but they throw whatever they have in there and say, okay, I'm going to make paper out of it, and then they rattle their screen and put it
yeah.
down and take it out in the sun because they live in Arizona. And Robin McClendon, I think that's who I was watching, making paper and stuff like that. And then, you know, or very expensive journals. Like I watched this woman, I don't remember her name now, but I'll go off on a tangent if I do. But she uses very big art journals, and she does design for buildings and things like that. That's part of her way of making money. But anyway, I'm just saying now it seems like that whole rarefied kind of we make real paper and we bind it and they do stitches too. I've seen many treasure books,
Yeah.
many people. Yeah, they do staples, but they also do the pamphlet
Mhm.
stitch pamphlet stitch is very popular and signatures are very popular and then how to go through. But then the cereal box comes in,
Yeah.
that they use the cereal box to cover it. So it's not that people aren't making paper, they're just doing it differently.
Yeah.
They're so I'm just seeing a whole new art form emerge
Yeah.
that is coming from the book arts world
Mhm.
and the art journaling world
Mhm.
where I have some videos where my friends that I know bought journals like uh thousand journals. Like one of my professors, David Dunlap, has a coffin for all his journals that he didn't know what to do with because
Right.
they only let him buy like 10,000 ones because the ones that he bought, I'm not maybe not 10,000, but close to it. And he bought all of them and he used them. He has little ones that he puts in his pocket. And he says, yeah, I take it out when I'm at, but he uses it as ideas, like he uses it as ideas and stuff. And then I see Treasure Books who's doing staple binding or staples, and then the other kind of binding with the measure three times and anyway, that I find, I'm sorry, I'm going on, but you know what I mean? Find an overlap
Of course, they're all
and
overlapped. Yeah.
that I call outsider art
Yeah.
because it's not what's taught.
Right.
What's taught
Yeah.
is a very rarefied thing that comes down from, the first books that were made to something that you're talking about, which is, hey, I just art journal and
Yeah.
I'm free and I use that as a meditative process.
Hmm.
Now
Yeah.
your turn.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. I mean, I think all art is interspersed. I mean, I loved when I could find the term mixed media artist. as opposed to I'm an acrylic painter or I'm a watercolorist. And I was like, but I'm not any of those. I'm not any of them. I'm all of them. Like I just want to do whatever I want in a given day with any supply. So, you know, I that's why I'm like when I talk about art journaling or book binding or junk journaling or being a mixed media artist, they're all the same thing to me. It's, I pick up all the supplies and I put them in a journal. Sometimes it has a lot of art in it, like if I'm painting specifically, like I think of art journals for me have more painting in them, and junk journals to me have more collage. But that is my distinction. That is not anyone else's distinction. That's just how I think about it. But they're also interchangeable because we learn from each other. I mean, what's a junk journal? Do you still call it a junk journal if you're painting roses in it? Maybe. If you're painting roses on a receipt, then it's junk, but you're painting art on junk. So like it's all interspersed to me. I don't see it as one thing. I wish,
Separate. What
yeah.
about altered books? Do you do altered books? I haven't seen you do altered books.
The only altered book I've done is I did a kids board book. Like I've done a children's
I
board.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah. But I like smaller books. So to me, to take a novel, which I consider, I guess, the altered book world would be to take a regular book and start working in it. It has too many pages in it and it's overwhelming to me. Like I like to finish things sometimes, so I don't always want to have this book that's going to take me forever. I just, it's just not my thing. But it doesn't say like tomorrow somebody hands me something or I run across a book and I'm like, there it is. That's the thing. That's the altered book I'll try. So it's just not something I've done. That's it. Nothing, it's just not something I'm drawn to today. But who knows tomorrow? Yeah.
What do you teach in your classes?
What do I teach?
Mhm.
Um, most recently, I think I've been teaching a lot of like building art journals and building like folios and things that you can use is what I'm calling like deconstructed art journals. So instead of the pages being bound together, you make a folio and you stick lots of blank paper in it and then you can pull it out. And I teach that. Like within the membership, I've taught everything. I mean, art journaling, stamp carving, jelly printing, how to do specific, fussy cutting your, painting your own flowers so you can fussy cut them back out, so you can watercolor them. I will try anything. Like I teach whatever is making me interested and curious at the time.
And how do your students respond to that?
I think the ones that you either, if you stick around, if you like, if that's what you like is that curiosity of always trying different things, then that's why my members stay, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for me to almost go down the rabbit hole and then bring up from the rabbit hole what's made me excited and I'm thinking is fun, and then I share it with them, and then they try it in their projects. So like for people who continually stay with me, that I think is one of the draws, is that I keep trying things like a squirrel, like, ooh, shiny thing. And I go and try it and then I share it. So I always want to share things that light me up. I don't share projects that stress me. Like I used to share projects when back in the day before I burnt out, I would do what students asked me. So they'd be like, I saw this project. Can you figure out, this picture? Can you figure out how to teach us how to do this? And I would, but it wasn't exciting. Like after a while, I was just doing what other people wanted me to do. Now, if I'm not excited about a project, they won't teach it. Like even if it's requested of me, like I have to have fun with it and I have to be interested in it and I have to love what I'm showing and the diving in and trying things. In order for that energy to translate to you as the student to enjoy it. So yeah. And I will also teach. There's many times in my membership, because it's my membership and I'm used to them and they're used to me. I will almost try things live with them together. Like I don't necessarily learn everything about something and then go and teach it. I will learn enough to get started, and then together, live in a class, we'll learn together, and I'll make mistakes and we'll try things, and they'll be like, try this and try that. And we just, yeah, again, rabbit hole and play, curiosity.
What is your definition of mixed media?
Uh, all the supplies at the same time. I doesn't matter to me. Watercolor, acrylics on the same page, colored pencils and stamps, stencils. It just means all of it. Collage, glue sticks, a hot glue gun if that's what you need. I mean, to me, mixed media is just putting all the supplies that you want on that page, or on that surface, whatever it is that you're doing. There is no, I don't think there's a supply that doesn't count as mixed media. To me, there isn't.
What about paper and stuff like that to hold that whole, do you, in your classes, I didn't find that when I was, like I said, the cardboard book and the zines and that you always give the freedom of you can use printer paper, you can use whatever you want. Do you ever, I like the cardboard again. I can shut up about it, but I like the cardboard again because it'll take a beating.
Yeah,
Or you told me it would take a beating. I have to try it.
yeah,
I've just been dumpster diving for
yeah, yeah.
cardboard at work. I go through the garbage all the
Hmm.
time. Like we have a lot, I work in a library, so
Okay.
we have lots of books that come in an interlibrary loan,
Mhm.
and they like I always say, time for me to go through the garbage, and everybody laughs. But actually and then I take it to HSS and say things like, can I use your cutter to cut
Yeah.
this cardboard? And anyway, but I like it because you told me it would take a beating. I'll take
Mhm.
your word for it. I've never worked on cardboard before.
Then
So,
you should
but I
start.
have used it with a my cricket,
Oh,
where
okay.
I bought cardboard
For
and
that.
then cut out shapes in cardboard. And my altered book is my grandson's National Geographic,
Yeah.
um, dinosaurs and things. He outgrew it a long time ago. He had it when he was a kid, and I saw it and I thought, no, too good to pass up. And then I came to the dinosaurs pages and I couldn't do anything. But that's how I learned to use Cricut cutouts from my Cricut, which I've never used my Cricut, to be honest, because I throw things on the table and then I don't clean them up, but I'm going to clean them up. But I go to the public library and use their Cricut, and I'll
Yeah.
do a whole bunch of stuff at all one time,
Mhm.
and then I forget which blade goes where. But
Yeah.
I've used cardboard there. I've used
Yeah.
cardboard with my Cricut and used with the design. So yeah. Well, anyway, what was the point of this? And I don't
Something
know.
with, I think you were going to ask me a question about paper.
Yeah,
Were you
I
going
was
to?
just asking you, it seemed like you just said anything goes.
Pretty much. I don't, it doesn't matter to me. I'm like, do I need the page to be thick? Do I need the page to be thin? Do I have a lot of it? I always, because I share out loud and I'm sharing on YouTube or within my membership, I'm also very cognizant of the fact that not everybody has the ability to go buy super expensive watercolor paper. So if you want to play with watercolors and all you have is printer paper or some white cardstock, then try it and see what happens. Know that it won't do the same thing as watercolor paper, but it's just paper. and see what happens. What if the experiment is interesting? And, the fact that it seeps through printer paper, the printer paper warps a lot, then you've got textured paper. So I also want you to be able to just create with what you have. If all you have is an Amazon box, then that's what you do. Amazon box, some white acrylic paint or some white gesso just to give it, if you want to take down the brown, and off you go. You don't even have to bind it. You could put a binder ring in it and call it good.
Well, I've been making quite a collection of children's books
Yeah.
because board books
Yeah.
because I'm curious about them. I haven't done any yet, but I'm curious about them, so I collect them because they're a quarter at our public library. And so I just go pick them up whenever I can. And they
Mhm.
come in all sizes. And I have a grandniece. I might make her a board book. I might practice on a board book for her, but I think I don't I think her parents probably wouldn't like it because I work on books. Uh, there's your aunt. She's just drawing in books now. And, it's like books are meant for reading, not what Anne does to them, which is not really permissible. You cannot take your book and put paper on it or whatever, or glue
Yeah.
things on it. So I'm careful about that. I respect that they're children and basically, I'm teaching them to draw, so I send real books.
Yeah.
Uh, you
Yeah.
know, and
But then there's books, a lot of kids' books are beaten up. So if there's one that's really beaten up, then there's no other purpose for it. So why not paint in it or collage on it? And I love children's board books. I mean, I've only done the one. I have a collection as well. But one of the things I loved about it was that it was finite. It only had like 5 pages on it. And then I was done and
right,
I had this
and
book
hard,
done.
the hard
Yeah.
pages, like
Yeah.
really hard pages.
Yeah. So, it was fun to do. Mine was tiny. It was just like a 3 by 3 square. And but I enjoyed that process of I just had to do like 5 pages and then I was done and I was like, "Oh, yay, I did. I finished." So that helps a lot when you're working. I like things that are um someone pointed this out to me that I kept saying it, and now I'm like, oh yeah, it is true. I like small journals, simple supplies. You don't need a ton of anything, and short amount of time. So the 3 S's: simple, small, short. And it that's to me when you struggle with a creative practice, if you can keep it a small journal, that's why I love zines. 4 pages, sides, whatever you want to do. It's done. It can be done in 5 minute increments or 10 minute increments. And you need like a couple colored pencils, maybe a little watercolor, some collage paper, and a glue stick. And you can do a delightful amount of things with those simple supplies. So it doesn't have to be this elaborate big journals. I mean, if you love them, go with it. If you don't. Like a zine is such a beautiful entryway because it starts with a piece of, well, it can start with anything, but if you're starting, you can start with a white piece of printer paper and you can add some watercolor and you can add a little bit of this and you can add a little bit of that. And then, you know, I think the way I've discovered, I think zines have like 8 sections or something, but like you can finish a zine in like a week if you were like every day I did a little something, or in 2 weeks every day I did a little something on the pages. And when you're done, you've done something. If that's your goal is to finish. Not everybody's goal is to finish, but you know, I just think it's easy to keep it simple, like the kids' board books, really simple. So, yeah.
Well, this has been really, I guess I wanted a conversation about what I've been thinking about. So I've just been thinking, and when I do watch your videos, I think, I wonder what Consie thinks about what I think. And so I watched the live too, where you work on your art journal page, and I've watched it after it's over. So
Yeah.
but I always wanted to know what you thought about that. And I will continue because I'm interested in this energy, this outsider. And what I mean by outsider is we just talked about book arts. I,
Mhm.
and where the overlaps are. You talked about where the overlaps are. Yes, there are overlaps, but they're totally different from what's taught at our school.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's like, and I TA'd for a guy who always encouraged people to do everything that they wanted to do,
Hmm.
or anything that they wanted to do. And he would come around, and his name was Howard, and Howard would come around and just say, okay, you know, get some get something into it, get you into it, and I watched him for a long time. And then when I found YouTube and when I started working in things on the side in YouTube, I I I found that same kind of energy that Howard was talking about. I find that energy in all the people that I watch.
Hmm.
I don't pick everybody to interview,
Well,
but there are people that I feel like we have some kind of simpatico, or there's something there that I think will speak to me, or for example, I come from a very religious Christian background. I didn't know that about you, but I'm not surprised. And that you have a graphic design. I didn't know that. And yet I'm not surprised. And, all this, I'm not surprised. And that you grew up in Barbados, I'm not surprised. And it's interesting how even the people I pick are people that have something in common with me. I grew up in Pakistan. I came here when I was 15.
okay.
I can relate somehow. It's instinct, by instinct, knowing nothing,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
um, we have commonalities, in our backgrounds. And now my parents didn't belong to any kind of sect or anything like that, but they were just very Christian, they were very right wing. My father was a Republican kind of thing, very right wing, very religious. We went to church and hey, sat around after church at a dinner table and discussed things. And maybe not everybody did.
Mhm.
So I find it interesting. I find a lot of commonalities with the people that I interview. There's something about them, like Lori Marie Jenkins is a friend of mine, and Lori Marie moved to Costa Rica.
Mhm.
I'm not surprised. She has that energy,
Mhm.
I'm not surprised that Lori Marie moved to Costa Rica. It's just like she retired there, basically. And she does slow stitching. And
Mm.
when I first started, I did like tapestries, or I did my own thing with fabric and stuff like that. So it's interesting. And not everybody speaks to me. Not everybody is like, oh, it's just something about the people that I pick that I'm like really like something about them and then I find out, oh, we have commonalities,
Yeah.
So anyway,
I
I won't
appreciate.
keep you, but I hope as I develop more about my thoughts about outsider art, I hope we can talk again. Would you
Sure.
mind doing that?
No,
I
that'd be.
I would, and I will keep watching and formulate some more. This was just an introduction. I keep coming back to people that I interview that I like and that I want to talk to again. Basically, they just
Okay.
seem like people I want to talk to.
Sure, that would be lovely.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you, Consie. I'm sorry I made you wait. I really did think it was 11:30, so
It's all good.
I was all here waiting patiently and I didn't join or anything until and I was so surprised. Oh, you're here. Okay.
It's all good. It's all good. We made it work.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I truly appreciate the conversation. I truly appreciate talking to you. It's how I learn, and talking is my way of learning.
Good. That's good. Mine's doing, but yes.
Well, my talking and doing is
Yeah.
is my way of dealing with things.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
all
Well, it was
right.
nice
Well,
to meet
thank you
you.
so much. It was
Thank you.
nice meeting you too. Thank you,
All
and
right.
I hope we do it again.
Absolutely. Thanks, Anne.
Thank you, and have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Oh, bye.